to this show, both live and online and on BBC iPlayer, will know that I love a bit of needle in a fight. I do. I really love it, especially a championship fight. And I don't like Riddick Bowe-like abuse, but certainly not biting each other at press conferences, that type of stuff. But a bit of proper old-fashioned rivalry is a must. A local derby is ideal. A lot of pride and fans prepared to let people know what is going on. No wonder the Royal Albert Hall residents voted against boxing, if you think about it. Anyway, next Friday in my second favourite British city, that's Liverpool, a third consecutive British super middleweight title fight will take place at the Echo Arena. 3 fights at the same weight is good enough, but each of these 3 fights has been a Scouse derby. Yo, they do love a derby up there, my son. Anyway, last March, Tony Quigley beat Tony Dodson in a classic. Last October, Paul Smith beat Quigley in another classic. And next week, next Friday, Dodson fights Smith. I'm not going to say it's going to be a classic. I'm going to tell you it's going to be a classic, because it is going to be a classic. Now, I've got them both on tonight. First, if I'm not mistaken, let's do Tony Dodson. Tony, you there, kid?
I'm here, Steve. Nice to hear from you, mate.
Yeah, and to hear from you, son. Now, listen, Tony, there's something special about boxing in Liverpool, a new mob, and now you've got this fantastic arena. People have been talking about it for years and years. It's changed the face. It's changed the face, and the fact that there's going to be this trio of great all Liverpool British super middleweight fights, and you mob have you've all got a bit of history, haven't you? You and Smithy have got a bit of history, haven't you?
Yeah, I think all 3 of us have got history at some point or another. You know, we've crossed paths, or we've been friends along the years. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Now, have you sparred with Smithy over the years?
Yeah, over the years. You know, Paul's helped me out. I've helped Paul out. You know, we've been friends over the years, and you know, it's I'm not taking into account anything that's gone on in the sparring. You know, it doesn't make any difference at all. Come fight night, spars are totally different from, you know, fighting in 10-ounce gloves. So I'm not looking into too much about the sparring that we've done over the years.
Now, what's your gut feeling on the crowd next week, Tony? A big one? A near sellout kind of thing?
To be honest, me and Paul done a press conference call with Frank Warren yesterday, and he was saying it was near enough sold out, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's been a good response. I mean, after my last fight, which was one of the fights of the year, I think people are really, really looking forward to seeing the Warrior back in action.
Yeah, now, Tony, now, with you and Quigley, there was all sorts of rumours and all sorts of animosity. When Smithy was sharing the ring with Wrigley, there was all sorts of rumours and all sorts of animosity. I mean, it seemed fairly real. With you and Smithy, is it just a bit of friendly rivalry? Is there something that we sort of need to know about that's a little bit lively that's happened?
Look, it's going to be a war. That's what it's going to be. It's got nothing to do. Listen, this is a business. This is what we do. Cool. We're trained to do this, and you know, these are British title at stake, which is the best belt in the business. Yeah. So believe me, I will be pulling no punches, mate. When I get through that ring, you ain't my friend. You know, it's business, and that's all I'm gonna. You know, that's all I can say. And that's
the only way it works. Tony, in an ideal world, and I know we don't live in an ideal world, that fight when you lost to Quigley last round, brilliant, absolutely fantastic night. Obviously not for you, but it was trust me, it was a great spectacle.
Do you know what though, Steve? People say that to me, you know, not for me. I might not have got the decision. But I felt like I come out of that ring a winner. Maybe because I set the standard. Nobody could deal with what I give out there. You've got to give Quigley respect. You know, he's got a granite chin. He's probably got the best chin in British boxing, and what I give him that night, any man that can withstand that deserves to get some credit for it. I've got to give him credit where it's due. He took a beating that night, because I didn't just outbox him, I outbattered him, I out everything, and he just got lucky, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, it was that kind of fight. The point I was trying to make, Tony, is that looking at it down the line, would you fancy a Quigley fight?
To be honest, right, I was in.
Is that what you're thinking?
I was in the Echo Sports Personality of the Year Awards 2 nights ago, and I was actually sitting with Tony, and we spoke about it. Me and Tony are friends, you know.
Yeah, of course.
We're businessmen, and it makes sense for it to happen. It makes sense for me because, you know, he was lucky to beat me. So I would love, I'd jump at that chance next week.
Listen, Tony, good luck next week. I'll come and say hello to you in the change room before the fight. Tony Dodson, who challenges Paul Smith next week for the British super middleweight title. Now I can bring on Paul Smith. Paul, how are you? Can you listen to Tony there? The Warrior's back, as he said. He's promising all sorts of stuff. He's a great talker. You're a great talker. Paul, what's your take on the fight?
If talking was a game, he'd be a multi-millionaire and a world champion, wouldn't
he? He would, wouldn't he?
You know what I mean? I've never heard so much rubbish come out of someone's mouth than I have off his.
But in all fairness, Paul, he does what you, all 3 of you up there have been doing what British boxing's lacked for a long time. You've been selling a fight. You've been selling fights, and that works.
The thing is, though, with Quigley and with Dodson, they think it's an act, and that they actually have to put that act on to sell tickets. I genuinely, don't like him, and I haven't got nothing, I've got nothing left for him. He was a friend, he was a mate, but at the end of the day, I don't fight my mates, and I'd fight him at the top of it. After stuff that's come out of his mouth, he's lost every last little bit of respect I had for him, what I mean? He just talks too much.
That's what I like, a bit of edge, because last year, when Tony Dodson fought Quigley, I saw you at ringside and you were fuming, Paul. You were really angry that night, about it being your turn, because it looked then like you might get frozen out because Brian McGee might have to come in. You eventually got your way with Quigley. Fantastic night that was. You won on points. Tight decision, split decision. I thought you nicked it on the night, but it was a tough fight. How do you see the Dodson fight going, Paul?
I'd see it going my way. The same, not necessarily the same fight as the Quigley fight. Stars make fights. We all know that. Don't listen to your show and know that. Stars make fights, and people go on about my fight not being as good as Dodson's with Quigley. I'd rather look bad and win than look good and lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. That's the
way
I look at it.
You're first or you're last, and that's it. You're first or you're not. I beat Quigley. I'm British champion. Now, what do people want me to do? Jump in and fight the way Dodson did and end up getting stopped, you know what I mean, and throw the title away? There's not a chance it was happening. Tony Quigley's a good boxer, and he doesn't get respect for the amateur pedigree that he had and the skills that he's got. He's a good boxer, and I got Tony Quigley at 14 weeks' notice. Tony Dodson got him at 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah.
So he took what Dodson had at 2 weeks' notice. He took everything I had at 12 weeks' notice, 14 weeks' notice.
Yeah, so he was properly prepared. Now, Paul, we shouldn't you shouldn't look forward, but it's a decent division, this, especially European wise, the super middleweights. Assuming you can, if you beat Dodson, there's some big old fights out there for you.
Yeah, the division's wide open, but as I've said before, and I said on that press conference, I've made the mistake of looking past opponents before.
Yeah.
And slipped up, and it's not going to happen again. I'm giving Tony Dodson 100% and everything that I've got, and that will be enough.
So if I had to ask you, Paul, to put in a sentence, what sort of message you'd have, first of all, for fight fans who are going to watch it on Sky or show up live in Liverpool, what can they expect on the night? And the final message, just a little message for Tony Dodson, but obviously you've got to keep it clean because, it's proper radio.
Well, the final message for me is the fight's going to be a good fight because I know for a fact it's not going to go the distance. I know I'm going to catch him. He's easy to hit. You can see by his face on that he's easy to hit, and I will catch him and I will put him away. He's admitted that I can knock out with either hand. He said that in the press. Tony Dodson talks so people get on his side and so he can big himself up and get his own confidence up when I know how insecure he is. You know what I mean? So that'll be the fact on the night, and I will knock him out.
Paul Smith, thanks very much indeed. Earlier on you heard from Tony Dodson. They go head-to-head on Sky next weekend. If you want a weekend out, go to Liverpool next Friday. It will be a phenomenal dust-up, as they say. Tony Dodson Paul Smith for the British Super Middleweight title up at the Echo Arena. I was asking people